Donald Trump comes to Israel, there's an Indian to go and see him. And Gemara says, why is there a need to go see him? So you'll know the difference between a melech of Israel and a melech of the Goyim. Why is it so important to know what the difference is? So I think a lot of things when I was thinking of Dala, I realized a lot of things in Judaism and Yahadut is lavdil ben kodesh l'chol, ben or l'choshen, and it just comes to show us that we have something tamen, we have something tahor, we have the kodesh, we have the kodesh kodeshim, and when we make something special, when we make something, we say this is kadosh, and we like sort of sanctify it. We say this is something special. And that's something that I think is very, very special in Judaism, is lavdil between, to know what the differences between each thing is. I think that's why it's important to go and see Donald Trump, to know what the difference is between...
Who is your king?
Shlomo.
So how was
He's getting there, he's getting there.
the introduction.
Just an introduction of why is it important to know the difference between malchut Israel and malchut Achashveirosh. Is a lot of things in Judaism is Yahadut comes to teach us that there is importance in life. It's not like we have something to man, we have something to or. We have mavdilim between chol and kodesh, ben Israel Amin. And when we have something special, then it makes it makes something holier, and that's why what we're trying to do in this meal is to see the differences between achashveirosh and other. I chose Shlomo because I thought it was very easy, even though that it is a little challenging. Shlomo HaMelech, there's a lot of similarities actually between achashveirosh and Shlomo HaMelech. And it was hard to find the differences, actually. Both of them were very, very wealthy. Both of them were sons of kings, and they were born into the system.
Achashveirosh was born into the system?
Achashveirosh's father, no?
The way I understood it was...
He was married to Zeresh.
He
right. All right.
No, into Vashti.
So Shlomo HaMelech had 1,000 wives, and it kind of reminds us of all the women parade that happened. And so I did see there is a Gemara that says that the reason why Shlomo HaMelech married so many women was because he wanted to likarev otam and wanted to lachzir otam b'tshuva. So maybe that's the difference between achashveirosh and.
Our heart's not so.
And King Solomon.
Another difference is
Malka. Just the top one, turn.
another difference is Shlomo
Just the
HaMelech.
top, don't
He built Beit HaMikdash, whereas Achashveirosh used the kelim of Beit HaMikdash.
He stalls the building of the Beit HaMikdash.
Right, and he stalls the building of the Beit HaMikdash. Is there anything else? One last thing that a very big difference is Achashveirosh seems to be like somebody not so smart in the Megillah. Like if he needs anything, then he always asks like his yoatzim, what should I do? What should I? He's not so smart. Whereas Shlomo HaMelech, with his wisdom, he was able to do a lot of mishpat Shlomo and a lot of with his chokhmah that he had. That's another difference between Achashveirosh and Shlomo HaMelech.
Very nice.
Yeah, we're supposed to tell teachers not to teach anymore. We're supposed to have them as pastors, and that they don't lecture anymore. So, what do we think about that?
Let's have a discussion.
Let's have a discussion.
Yes.
So, I was thinking about malchut. So I didn't choose a method, but I was trying to think about what it means. Like, the lamidah mishmot. Did they talk about that? I read the Chada teachers, especially.
She's the teacher of the teachers.
In
It's like the holiest of the holiest.
And Oradicion. And Oradicion. Yeah, so I go to my boys' school and I get to talk to all their teachers. While I'm working.
Tell them what they're doing wrong.
No, I work with special ed teachers. So they come and talk to me while I'm trying to work. Okay, so I'm trying to think about what melucha means. So on one hand, I think we're trained to like in Yadut to miss melucha and daven for melucha and like to want melucha again. But on the other hand,
We like democracies.
what?
We like democracy.
But isn't like melucha not democracy?
Right, that's
right,
the
now
point.
we like
Right.
democracy,
We
right?
like democracies. Who wants a melon?
Right. So who wants to
I
know
wonder
it?
that all the time.
And who? What do you say?
I wonder that all the time.
Yes, exactly. So I was thinking about like one hand.
Cook says
This is a discussion.
Okay.
You're not supposed to
Hamelucha v'yamenshala, Hamelucha v'yamenshala, Hamelucha v'yamenshala, Hamelucha v'yamenshala.
Trying to think in our own lives where we do have malchut, like our boss at our job or a spouse sometimes.
Whoa.
I don't know. No, not my spouse.
Josh,
Get that?
you were referenced.
I'm saying how do we have malchut in our own lives? I was saying a boss who tells us what to do, or a spouse.
Our
Our
parents.
spouse.
Our parents tell us
Our
what to do.
parents.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, parents.
So I was thinking we could all think about maybe for a second about someone who we see as a
L'chaim to our parents.
L'chaim.
May our parents live long and be well.
Amen.
And be, I don't know how to say mifkach and
Be what?
And won't be embarrassing. Ahem.
Yeah.
Not
That is our blessing for your father.
I chose to speak about King Shlomo. King Shaul.
See, if I call you Yoni, you can call your King Show Shlomo.
King Shaul. Okay.
First, show the camera your fingernails. Okay.
manicure.
So first, I want to say why I picked King Shaul. So King Shaul is connected to the Megillah.
Because of Amalek.
Because of Amalek, that's one connection. And because of
Watch your slats, man.
and because of
He's so very big too.
and because of Mordechai and Esther. It's a midrash. It's not
Ishimini.
Ishimini, so he's from Binyamin, that's for sure. There are those who want to say Ben Shimi, Ben Yair, Ben
Kish.
Ben Kish. So there are those who want to connect this Kish to Shaul HaMelech. Shaul was Ben
Real
Kish.
many Kish.
Shaul was Ben Kish. There are those who want to connect the Kishim, but I don't think they're exact, the same Kishim. They might have been in the family. In any case, Shaul HaMelech definitely came when Mordechai and Esther, when they took care of the Amalek problem of their generation of Haman, came to do a tikkun for Shaul HaMelech and his mess up with Amalek in his generation. That's one. Also, as we mentioned already, Shaul HaMelech is from Sheva Binyamin. I'm not from Sheva Binyamin. My name is.
But your name is
But my
Binyamin.
name is Binyamin, so I feel a connection.
There-
Shaul HaMelech is unfortunately was our first king.
You don't know this.
I'm a Levi.
Oh, you're
I'm a
done.
Levi. I'm a Levi.
We might be from
Maybe my mother. Maybe you're right. I may have some Binyamin
You see?
blood in me. That's true.
Enjoy your nails there.
I'm enjoying my nails. My nails are just there.
We flashed them.
Good job.
Yes, good nails. Good nails to work with.
So, Shaul HaMelech, unfortunately, usually gets. We usually emphasize all the criticism that there is, and unfortunately, there is a lot to say about him, a lot to critic about him, criticize about him.
Critique.
About him. But since we're supposed to compare Shaul to achashveirosh and show how the Jewish king is better than the Goyish king,
Not necessarily.
so I think, well, I'll use that as ben ha'afochu to emphasize the good, the
Positive.
positive. Thank you. The positive points that Shaul HaMelech had. So, continuing on points that Yoni mentioned, when he compared Shlomo to Achashveirosh, one of the things that I thought stood out when we think about Shaul HaMelech is the fact that, as opposed to Shlomo and even as opposed to David HaMelech, Shaul HaMelech, we don't hear about him we don't hear any issues with him and women. Right? We hear,
Well,
They were good friends.
now you're getting into a real biblical criticism, right?
We hear about.
that's Jonathan and David, and that's a different issue.
Maybe that's why we didn't get into.
Isn't there something that he talked too much with women? Like he explained.
No, the women were talking too much to him. To him.
So I think
Shaul HaMelech was considered to be very tall and very handsome and very strong, and the women
And
just
what
kept
would women
unspoken.
want more than that?
Yeah, women are.
But Shaul, but we don't
Tall,
see,
dark, and handsome.
but we don't see Shaul. We don't see any issues with Shaul in this aspect. We do know that he was married and he had children. We know that he had a Pelegish, and there's a Pelegish that is mentioned, but we don't hear any of these issues. And I thought that's one thing that we can mention in contrast of Shaul to Achashveirosh. As Achashveirosh, we have many women. We have a whole parak where it goes to.
Shall we look
Some
up
people
and
say
smile?
that it's.
Hi, camera.
Perak Bet, I think there's a lot of parallels between Perak Bet of the Megillah to Mitzrayim, to Paro, where where Mefarshim want to compare the way Paro built his empire to the way Achashveirosh was building his empire, or picking out a woman, picking out his wife. So that's one thing. Another thing, we know that Shaul was considered very tsanua, very anav. He didn't want to be king. What happened later is a different story. But
He's
he didn't
probably a
want.
tzaddik also.
He was probably a tzaddik also. He was mishchvo mamala. He was and he was very anav, as opposed to Achashveirosh, who was out there showing off everything he had. And the last point that I thought about was that Achashveirosh we hear about always in the palace. We hear about him behind all his ministers. He mentioned this also. He was considered not the smartest, but he is Yoatzim. We don't see him actually, at least not in the Megillah. We don't see him actually acting and going out, and as opposed to Shaul HaMelech, you can find him on the battlefield. You always find him on the battlefield. That's actually where he met his death, on the battlefield. And he was a leader who actually led his people. He was one, as they say in the Tzadchanim, he was acharai. You know, he screamed at acharai, as opposed to Achashveirosh, who, at least in the Megillah, we don't see that. We just hear him. He's, all the way up there. You can't even get to him without him allowing you.
Touching the
Right,
shavit.
without him allowing you to come near. Shaul was from the people and a part of it.
Anyway, so the melech that we decided to choose was Achav. And when I say we, I mean Malka. And I also want to attribute this Dvar Torah to Malka. Because I mentioned a Braita that Mesachah Megillah talks about to Malka, about comparing Achav to Achashveirosh, which is B'diuk the Dvar Torah.
Wow.
And Malka's like,
Wow.
no, that's no good. She's like, why would the Braita talk about in the Gemara partitioning? I just made a Aramaic / English word. Partitioning
I like
the
this.
Braita. Why would it just totally neglect the fact that Achav was only a Melech Yisrael and not a Melech Yehuda? So let's not talk about that Braita. If you look at Achashveirosh and Achav, let's look at Achav for a second. Achav maybe wasn't such a bad guy, but he was married to a bad lady.
Yeah, I was really drunk.
Achav,
Bad guy.
I'm saying maybe maybe
started off bad, but
I got this from Ima. Ima's a Tanakh expert.
I think he was bad.
You didn't say anything. You might not have been in such a bad guy.
No, he was bad until Hara Carmel. Then he believed in Hashem, but Izetta brought him down.
Achav was probably a believer, but he was married to a woman who brought him down. She was married to Izebel, his wife. And she was a Rasha, and she brought him down.
And that was her name, Izebel.
Izebel.
Bad name.
No. Donnie and Yair.
Just wait 1 second. He needs a lot of attention.
Now, in contrast, B'nigud lezeh, we have achashveirosh, who was married to. No, forget about Vashti. Esther. He had Hadassah. You can zoom in on Hadassah for a second. So what do we learn from this contrasting of Achav, who was married to a Rasha, who brought him down, to achashveirosh, who was married to Esther, who brought him up? We learned the lesson that behind every man, and sometimes in front of every man,
This is the first word that I had to teach it.
is a very important woman who either brings him down or brings him up.
Because alone, he's nothing.
And I would like to dedicate this to our Torah, to the person who made it up. To Malka, the love of my life.
Okay, so
As of now, as we are now in Ben Hashmashot of Ted Club, this is the cue to bringing in.
I know, can they go? Because I can't.
As it's Ben Hashmashot, it's actually Ted Bavadar.
this is for you.
And Ted Bavadar is Malka's 40th birthday. And Malka has brought me up in life. Dear Malka, happy birthday to you.
In case you weren't sure how old I am, now the whole world knows.
Wow.